This song that Brother Dwayne played in its first iteration was Saved on Jesus. And that's a song you heard. It then, in the 1960s, I think, there was a shift of the words. And if anyone's interested, you can find John Legend doing this version on YouTube. And it's Stayed on Freedom. So it became a somewhat of an anthem in the 1960s. But neither of those versions did I hear first in my life. The first version that I heard came in a school bus for both our football team and our basketball team. And this was the 1970s. This is when we were being, as South Florida was being taught to tolerate one another. We saw busing happening in our schools. And so the bus ride changed for at least for me, from middle school to high school. And I heard this same song, same tune, same kind of theme, I guess it was, but it was, I woke up this morning and a little bit of change, and my mind was set on winning. And so it became an anthem. It became an athletic anthem. So I didn't know there was a spiritual tone to this. I knew it sounded gospel-y, if that's even a word. So I wasn't certain on that, but it really was not this iteration of it. So now it's a favorite song of mine. So welcome. Welcome to the Church of Jesus Christ. And I pray that the Lord blesses you today with our message that I hope is the Lord's message. So we began with this song. I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on Jesus. Keep that thought in your mind. Sunday mornings and Saturdays, as I shift into the weekends, I have no specific way about finding the Lord's message. Sometimes I'm not even in the struggle on Saturday because God has spoken to me earlier in some way. But it wasn't that way to this particular weekend. So this weekend, I often go back to Brother Alvin Swanson's words. And as I say Brother Alvin Swanson, I'm assuming Brother Jim's ears perk up as well, because we both sat at the feet of this particular master who taught us spirituality, taught us all kinds of things, life applications, all kinds of things. But one of the things he taught was, and I've told you this before, was this phrase, this statement: listen for God's voice. Now, he was applying that first counsel to us in the church service. Listen for God's voice in the service. But he later expounded on that and said on countless occasions, listen for God's voice throughout the day, because he's speaking to us all the time. So that's I think of that often. I think of Brother Alvin's sweet words so often. And so this particular weekend, I came into this weekend and I sat in kind of quiet reflection, thinking about Brother Alvin and thinking about, did I hear God's voice this week? Was he telling me what to bring to you? So I apologize for all the possessive pronouns that I might use today through my own experiences, but I believe they were all for you. I believe that anything I experienced was for me to bring to you all. Because they're my experiences, I'm going to use I and me, and I apologize in advance. This is certainly far from being about me, and it's all about being for you. So I hope that all makes sense, and I'm not going to continue to apologize for that, but I want to say that at the front end of this. Starting with this, and I'm sure I've said this once or twice because I'm so passionate about it. I've never fully appreciated nor embraced the phrase, have a nice day. I understand the kindness in it, so I don't resent at all. I just am not one who embraces it. Now, here comes the total sellout confession. And when I hear that, I usually say back, you too, have a nice day. Because I'm not gonna sit there and try to twist and turn and reconvince someone. It's just kindness. So I'm not gonna offend anyone. But my confession is within, I am not embracing the phrase at all when someone says that to me. But again, thank you for saying that. And if you say it to me, hear me. You too, have a nice day. So let's get that out of the way right now. But I find have as a verb too passive. Have a nice day. And the reason I say that is I don't think that nice days necessarily are coming our way. I don't know how your days go, but that doesn't always happen for me. And so I've instead embraced make it a great day. And I've driven my family, I'm sure, to the point of ad nauseum. Enough, Dad. We know. Make it a great day. So I get all of that. I get it. Having said that, this week on Thursday, I got a T-shirt out, and I was gonna throw it on, and as I always do, and I don't know if everyone else does it, but I usually pick it up out of the drawer and I turn it around both sides. I don't know why I do that, but I do. Hold it up, maybe to stretch it out and get it straight. I don't know, but I did. I turned it around, and I saw on the back side of this T-shirt, front said destination relaxation, I think, or destination Florida. I can't remember. And I remembered, oh, that came from a conference in Florida from work 10, 15 years ago. And then faded on the back right shoulder of this T-shirt, I saw writing. And I immediately remembered one of my managers who I today love. I owe him a call. I had a call, I think, on this past Friday, in fact. Hey, Dad, it's Dan. Give me a call. So I'm going to give my dear friend Dan Severko a call back. But what Dan had done is gone to buy me this T-shirt at this conference. He was one of my managers who worked for me. He went to buy this T-shirt for me. Then he took it to our key speaker, who was today a name not so highly regarded, but he was a great speaker. It's John Gruden. He was an NFL football coach who is no longer. He was fired and has gone a different direction, I think, in his life. Having said that, on the back of the T-shirt, it said, Doug, make it a great day, Coach Gruden. And so I held that T-shirt. I thought, oh, isn't that great? And it took me back to Dan. It took me to this phrase. And I put the T-shirt on, and that's the last I thought of it. I remembered that as I wondered through Brother Alvin's teaching, what was God's voice like this week? I had an even more impactful moment that came earlier than this. Came on Tuesday morning. It was the morning Candace went off to watch our grandchildren. Did you go off on Tuesday to watch them? Right? On Tuesday, she went off to watch our grandchildren already. I had been up for a little bit, and I was walking around the house after she left. And as I was walking through the house, some clear thoughts, if you will, came to me. And my thoughts were kind of simple. I'm up. I'm alive. I'm thankful. And so I found myself overwhelmed with gratitude and love for the Lord. And so I said the first three things I said to the Lord as I walked through the house and I began my prayer. I said, good morning, thank you, I love you. Nothing in between, nothing more. Good morning, thank you, I love you. Our theme today is wake up call. And the double entendre, I hope you understand, in wake up call is for me, it was a wake up call on many levels. I went to an old seminar prior to this service just to look and see if I had ever captured anything on positivity. How do you maintain this feeling of gratitude or this feeling of happiness? As I said to the Lord, good morning, thank you, I love you, I began to pray. And I'm walking through my house sobbing and praying to the Lord. I didn't stop and kneel. I just was walking through my house. I went to the back window. I went to the front window, and everything I saw stirred my spirit and brought me thankfulness and gratitude and happiness and joy. So this morning, as I thought through those thoughts and they were clear and I could hear the Lord's message to me for the first time, if you will, I went to find, did I ever capture anything of good counsel? So I kind of massaged these words I heard, and I wrote out this morning, positive Beatitudes. And that is a cheap commercial for Tuesday night, and to ask you all to join us Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time, because we're going to go into the Beatitudes. These are not the Beatitudes. These are created Beatitudes. These are things to be. How do we maintain joy? How do we maintain happiness? Be positive from the moment you awake. And I found that startling when I read that this morning as the first, because that had been my experience Tuesday. From the moment I awakened, I was overwhelmed with God's Spirit to be positive. Good morning, Lord. Thank you. I love you. All of those sincere, focused thoughts, all of those an expression of what I was experiencing in that moment. With this confession, so that we put me in the right place. I don't do that often. I don't awaken in that spirit. I don't awaken with that focus on God. But here's what I know. His focus is on me every one of those mornings, the mornings I miss, the mornings I get. Be positive from the moment you awaken. Be optimistic in your outlook. Listen, we know this. Sometimes that's hard. We get it. We get it. We get it. Because quickly behind that comes a yeah, but you don't know what I'm going through. Yeah, but this is happening. Yeah, regardless, not disrespectfully regardless, but regardless. Be optimistic in your outlook. Know that, as we learned Tuesday night, my grace is sufficient. That's what we realize. I have given you all you need. Now, I will still come through and give you what you want when you're asking properly, says the Lord, but I have already gifted you what you need. My grace is sufficient. So if you have a knee-jerk reaction, which I understand, when I say, embrace a positive outlook, the Lord's answer is also a little different, which is, you can be positive. I've given you all that you could ever need in this life. Be thankful. And behind that thought was, be grateful. Have a spirit of gratitude. And if you don't have or haven't started a gratitude journal, I strongly suggest that. At the end of every day, write down something, anything that you're grateful for. Anything. Stir your mind. Think back on the day. Remember what I told you. I started searching for God's message by searching for his presence in my life this week. That took an effort on my part. And when I stopped and paused, I found it everywhere. Had I not stopped and paused, I may not have found it. So my mental gratitude journal was stopping and thinking to listen for God's voice. It takes a little bit of effort, but it will always be rewarded. So if grateful or gratitude is a challenge for you, start a journal and find yourself ending every day thinking of things that God has done for you. Be aware. Be aware. Small things are big things. Now, it may sound like it's contrary to Don't Sweat the Small Stuff, a book back in the 1980s, I think, but that's not what this means. What this means is God is blessing you with tiny things and little things that some might find insignificant. Those little things are big things. Putting a t-shirt on a Thursday morning is a huge thing that stirs you to remember. Be awake to negativity around you. If you get disturbed by too much negativity watching this show or putting this on your device or this person. Limit. Be careful. Be aware. Take control of your life, of your spirit, of your attitude. I will confess in advance, I put this one together a little bit, massaging this. So it's not really a be attitude. Be that as it may, belong. Humankind needs interaction. So get involved with other human beings, those who are either need you or want you, or those who are really strong positive forces to you. Maybe you share Jesus Christ with them. I have long told my testimony about the different people I was with when I joined the church, when I joined the Lord in my walk, that I had to sever from. So while I still needed to be a part of different individuals, there were some that I had to sever those relationships from. Belong to whatever it might be, associations, friendships, relationships. Be outside. Brother Dwayne, wherever you are, this is the key for you to smile right now. Be outside. We feel better when we see God's creation. So whether you can get outside, it is single digits locally. Maybe we've moved into the teens. So being outside is not necessarily the right move. But Candace and I, when we got here, we immediately went to the window. The back of this room, we went to the window, we opened the little slides and we looked outside. The sun was shining. And in that moment, I felt so good. So if you can't get outside, open your windows. Let nature come in. If you can't get to nature, let it come in. So be outside, or let outside be inside. And lastly, be kind to others. And most critically, be kind to yourself. Our theme today is wake up call. All of these are proactive ways to allow the joy of Jesus Christ into your life. Good morning. Thank you. I love you. The most extraordinary wake-up call. While I have had moments, I have not had such clarity in those moments as I had Tuesday morning. It was magnificent. The last, part of the message, I guess, part of the happenings of this week came on Friday morning. Again, none of these attached. I am attaching them creatively this morning, believing these were all part of God's message for you, channeled through me and my experiences to share with you. All of them as counsel, all of them as suggestions, strong suggestions maybe, but suggestions nonetheless. I'm going to go to Psalms. On Friday morning, in this beautiful conversation that I had with Brother Mark Cottalesi, it was just delightful. And as we were talking, he kept bringing us back to the psalmist. He kept bringing us back to the life of this man and why the richness of Psalms came from his experiences. Why the richness of Psalms came from all that David had endured and experienced. I don't know that endured is necessarily the right word. All that the Lord had endured with David's experiences might be a better statement to make, but either one works and either one is acceptable. I'm going to read to you, I'm going to give you the homework assignment first, if you're looking for that. I'm going to get to Psalms 23, 24, and 25. I am not going to read them all, so don't anyone shudder. But I'm going to read just an excerpt here or there from those 3 chapters. But I want to point something out to human behavior. If you go back a chapter before, 23 through 25, 22 starts this way. My God, why hast thou forsaken me? And it speaks to our very natures. This was an outcry from David searching from a position of feeling lost. And then we see that he was found in 23, 24, and 25. 23 is the most famous of all of these, the most quoted of all of these. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down, and it goes on. So I'm going to tell you to read that one and make note to how it begins. Make note to how 23 ends. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Remember, a thought before this, a thought just before, surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. He was crying to the Lord, why have you forsaken me? He is you. You are me. I am David. We all have these experiences. We all process through these. When I say to embrace a mindset of positivity, find an optimistic outlook. You may have had a knee-jerk reaction, but you don't know what my life is. To which the Lord says back, surely goodness and mercy shall follow you all the days of your life. Nothing else need be said. Case closed, the Lord wins. I'm going on to 24 to tell you to read that. It's a chapter of praise that you cannot get through without smiling or rejoicing. And then he goes to 25. And this first verse is where I found myself Tuesday morning. Now, the entirety of this chapter is fabulous. Show me thy paths, lead me in thy truth. Remember, O Lord, thy tender mercies and loving kindness. Remember not the sins of my youth. So throughout, it's great. But where it starts is where this message started for me, which was last Tuesday morning. Good morning, Lord. Thank you. I love you. David says it this way. Unto thee, O Lord, do I lift up my soul. Today's message is wake up call. We have a responsibility to focus on he who brings us joy, joy, joy. He promises us, I made you that you might be joy-filled. Said this way, men are that they might have joy. My purpose in creating you was that you would find, is that you will find the joy intended for all of you. The update is not everyone locates that joy. Not everyone finds and embraces the source of that joy. And if that's a fact, if what I just said is accurate, then how much more should we be the most joy-filled, thankful, positive, optimistic people on this earth? We have found Jesus Christ, and he has found us. You have the intimacy to wake up and say, good morning. Thank you. I love you. All of those can sound almost Pollyanna, simplistic, until you delve into the background to each one of those three phrases. Good morning is a statement of faith. The joke starts this way. Two men stood in their living rooms. One said good morning to no one, and he was talking to himself. The other said good morning to God, and he welcomed magnificence into his life. Good morning is a statement of faith that I didn't know till I said it Tuesday morning. Thank you, a statement of gratitude, a statement of acknowledgement, a statement of experience. Thank you, Lord. Who am I to stand in my living room? This living room you gave me, this protection you gave me, this life that you gave me, this salvation that you gifted me. Thank you. And what possibly could come behind good morning, my God? Thank you, my Lord, but I love you. The conclusion is simple. The result of saying good morning and thank you is I love you. I utter those words to my wife often. I want her to realize that I appreciate her. I want her to realize that I love her. I utter those words to each of you often. I want you to realize I love you. I want you to realize I appreciate you. But saying them to God, it's not that you're not worthy, any one of you. It's that he's completely worthy. And the amazing part of that exchange is he loves me back. And he knows me better than anyone else, and yet still loves me. I would say that about you, but it sounds really judgmental, so I won't. I'll leave that to you to discuss in your relationship with God. But for me, to know that he loves me back is extraordinary. It is the extraordinary thing in our relationship. Despite me, he loves me. Because of him, I love him. That's a different relationship. That's a different love language we speak to each other. Our theme today is Wake Up Call. And what it signifies is that when we start in an acknowledgement, in an appreciation, and a love for our God, you have begun to fulfill the writing on my t-shirt. Make it a great day. And greatness comes from God Almighty. Greatness comes from his love. And while I'm sure he appreciates my saying, I love you, his response in it is actually, if you love me, keep my commandments. If you love me, love others. If you love me and show me by keeping all that I said to you. I say I love you to God because I was nothing without him. If my testimony just went to my work life, you would find that I owe him everything. If my testimony was just to my relationship with my wife and children, you would see that God has given me everything. We just passed through Courtney's birthday. And I can remember the moment that the nurse came into the hallway where I and my mother were waiting to hear news how Candace had done. The nurse came out into the hallway and said, is there a Mr. Obradovich here? And when I told her that I was that person, she said, congratulations. You're the father of a beautiful little girl. And I can remember my reaction. I just completely oblivious to everyone around me. I jumped into the air, celebrating this joy. I owe everything to God. And so it is not unnatural. It is not strange that I would find myself on Tuesday morning greeting my God, good morning, thanking my God, thank you, and expressing to him, I love you. This morning's theme is Wake Up Call. Might you receive this wake-up call today and appreciate all that the Lord has done for you, as I did on Tuesday morning. Despite me, he still whispers to me. May the Lord bless each one of you.